Welcome to Dive Deep. I'm your host, Caleb Swartz. Our goal here at Dive Deep is transformation. During this series, we are exploring the transformation that Pastor Arlie and Christ Wesleyan Church have experienced during his leadership and care for these past 40 years. In today's episode, we're going to share another memory from someone who's been impacted by Pastor Arlie and allow him to respond to that. Then we're going to hear some additional background on what was happening during the development of the sermon and some of his thoughts. Kick back and relax as we take a journey down memory lane in the Vintage Collection. Pastor Arlie, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, Caleb. You do that so well. You sound like you have a smile in your voice.
You know what? I do smile when I say that, and you get to see it, but our listeners don't. And I think it helps to get me there.
It does. It's good. It's good.
So we have a memory shared by Shirley Homan, who has done, I don't know how many missions trips with you.
Oh, good heavens, yes. I don't know. I think I've done probably 40 times to Guatemala. I don't know. Something
and
like
so
that.
she called in and shared this recording with us.
Okay.
Greetings, Pastor Arlie. This is Shirley Homan, and as your mission director for the past 27 years, of course, I have many, many memories of our time together on the mission field that I could share with the listeners. One of the teaching memories from our many trips to Guatemala would be when we handed out shoes we had taken for the children. Tradition in Guatemala for these types of receiving free things from mission teams was for them, whether it be children or adults, to mass gather around the person giving out the item to the point that you don't think you will ever survive the ordeal and be able to breathe fresh air again. I don't think I ever saw such frustration and perhaps even a bit of anger come over Pastor Arlie than when we were doing this and the crowd was literally overtaking us. He was human after all. The end result that worked the best for us in this situation, as well as on trips that we would have in the future, was to sit the children down first or line them up one behind the other. Then they could be brought up in an orderly fashion, one by one, to try on shoes and be given a pair to keep for themselves. Oh, how this system worked so much better. And I dare say we all enjoyed our trips much more after that. More recently on our trips, you could find Dr. Arlie heading up the eye department we held as part of our yearly medical clinic. He never had a problem there with crowd control, and any time you looked in on the clinic, everything was running very orderly and efficient. He remembered how best to set the clinic up from the frustrations he had with the shoes. Adults and children would sit when they come into the clinic and wait their turn to look for reading glasses and sunglasses. Pastor Arlie, you've been an incredible leader that I have been extremely proud to work and serve under. Our vision for missions has always matched perfectly, and we were always on the same side of things when looking at mission opportunities and ways to spend our mission dollars. Thank you for your heart for missions on behalf of myself and Christ Wesleyan Church.
I think it's fun because Shirley is such a detail-oriented person, so she would appreciate that part of your personality.
Oh, yes.
Well, and it's funny because isn't that almost the gospel wrapped up in a sort of a summary way of bringing order out of chaos for the benefit of the people that you serve?
Let me give you the rest of the
story.
Go for it. Okay, okay. Because when we would go there, when we first went, we were probably just bringing things for everybody, giving things away, which creates a dependent culture, which we later on said, this is not a good thing. We need to be able to get past that. Let's teach them things. Let's help them learn to do new things, and let's work in that way. So we kind of really reshaped what we were doing after that.
Right.
But when we first went, unless you've worked with poverty people, you don't really understand all of this. But like they would take shoes like that didn't fit them or anybody in their family, and they'd sell them. I mean, so like we didn't understand it because we would say, no, wait, all we have is these. They're like too small or they're too big. Más grande, pequeño, small. And they would say, doesn't matter. We'll just take them. And so then we realized what was happening. But when they started, like it would be like, kind of Walmart on Black Friday, And
That's a really great comparison.
yeah. So they're all pushing in and coming, and I was the bouncer. Like I was like holding the door like with my hands to make sure only like one could get through at a time. And I would kind of, keep moving a hand and moving it back and forth, trying to let them in. And they were pushing against me. And it was like, and I remember very clearly my daughter would say, "Dad, you're using your angry face." And I'd say, "Yeah, I get it." And she'd say, "I don't think they've seen like what they're supposed to be seeing when they look at you." And I would be, you're right. Okay. But I didn't know how to manage this pushing and shoving that was coming at me and do this. And so at the end of the day, we went home. We were on the bus to drive back to the hotel. And I kept saying, "Jesus, what would you do if you had a crowd of people?" And I kept thinking, and then it came to me, I know what you did. You had everybody sit down.
Right.
What a plan. That was a great plan. No wonder you were feeding all these hungry people, and they can't push and shove when they're all sitting down.
Right.
They can only do that when they're standing up. Perfect.
Wow.
Next day, I came back and I said, all right, here's the plan. Instead of everybody standing, they're going to sit down. And then we're just going to call them from being a seated position. From then on, it was perfect.
Wow.
We never had any problems. But the thing that was really cool is that you think about it, the Bible has something for everything in our lives.
Right. And that's what I'd never thought about how to, we'll say, how to show Jesus' kindness to a crowd by looking at how he handled the crowd, right? I hadn't thought of that before.
Exactly. And so I could smile the next day.
Right.
I could be happy. I could let Jesus be seen in me when I wasn't being pushed and shoved.
And did Adrian affirm that in you then?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. She saw it after that. Yeah. But Shirley and I were such a great match.
Yeah.
We just had the same kind of like vision and heart. And so she knew after a short period of time, like if I would say, yeah, hey, we need to help this country, or we need to help this, and we need to work with this. And she would say, that's exactly what I thought. So we were like we had the same kind of thoughts to try to address the needs that were around the world, as well as local. And so it was a great run.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And it's hard to believe that I haven't had the opportunity to go on a trip with you yet, because you were typically doing medical the last couple of years, and I was always construction. Yeah. So, we'll have to fix that in the upcoming ones.
We'll look at that.
Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure. But boy, they really are fun. And I mean, I'm sure you would encourage anybody that's listening and hasn't had the opportunity to go on a trip yet.
Oh my goodness. It's life-changing.
It really is.
Yeah. It just makes such a big difference when you've seen it and experienced it.
Yeah. And I think also just, in Guatemala is especially unique for us because the relationships that we have built there over the years, when you go and you experience that and the love that they have for you just because you're part of the CWC family.
Sure.
And when you leave Guatemala after a trip, a little bit of your heart's still there, and you have a people that you love and can think about that are totally outside of the realm of where we exist right here and now.
Exactly.
It does. It really expands your heart and your mind.
Yep. Your words are repeated time and time again by many that experience the same thing.
Yeah. So don't wait. Go on a missions trip.
Absolutely. when everything opens back up.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. So... Okay, looking back in history, this message that I remember Country Sunday well.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun for us.
Sure.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah. Kids loved it.
Yeah.
Kids loved it.
Oh, of course we did.
Yeah, we all did, but kids loved it.
And the big meal afterwards. Lots of fun. Well, back in 2000, there was a few things going on. I'll just bring you up to speed in pop culture in U.S.
Sure.
So, Napster, revolutionized music. It was the first
downloading. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Napster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
A couple of movies came out. The Emperor's New Groove, if you're a Disney
I remember.
fan.
Yeah.
Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon. That was one. And then Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Soggy Bottom Boys. Some good bluegrass folk music, yeah. Get this, Blockbuster refused to buy Netflix for 1/26,000th of its current price.
Isn't that
They
crazy?
didn't see the future in it.
Boy, I'll tell you there. And who knows what even Blockbuster is now.
I don't think they actually exist anymore.
Yeah.
I think they're totally gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Survivor, reality TV show, premiered in the year 2000. The final Peanuts comic strip was published. Charles Schulz died that year. Yeah. Unfortunately, we all survived Y2K.
Wasn't that
Remember
crazy?
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy. We didn't go anywhere for that New Year's.
Of course not. No.
We just sat home and waited for the whole world to fall apart.
And now, I mean, what, just because our computers wouldn't work?
I know. I don't know what we no, they kept telling you, like, everything in our world is computerized.
Right. It's going to all shut down.
So the whole world's going to fall
Right.
apart. Yeah. We were sure of that because nothing was programmed to go past 2000.
Right.
And so, like, without a glitch, it just went on.
It just
and
continued.
Here we are.
How about that? So, what kind of came to thought for you as you prepared this message, either reflecting back on that era and that time or currently as you prepared?
Well, I know at the time, as far as looking at it, Country Sunday was always like one of those kind of events where people felt really comfortable in inviting a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to create a number of those throughout the year, probably 3-4 different kinds of events where somebody could say, I could invite a friend to this and they'd be comfortable. They'd kind of enjoy it. And so Country Sunday was the first time for a lot of our people.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a production, it might be Country Sunday, it might be a special event or whatever. And we kind of built those in. So I really, and like Christmas Eve, all those kinds of things, I really felt the importance of making sure the gospel is presented and people know that, there's the importance of saying yes to Jesus. And so that was one of the thoughts that was there. So every Country Sunday, I tried to give a salvation message, that people could respond to and give their heart to Christ. So that was what it was. And then I kind of moved from one thought to another and came up with the 2 doors. And, you'd have to pick and you have to make a choice. And I can remember there weren't a whole lot of people that came forward, but I do remember Bob Lipsky coming forward. I remember that. And I remember that was a time when, we knew there could be life change. And I've watched him develop and grow. He came from a Catholic background without really a understanding of a personal relationship.
Right.
That just continued to develop and grow, and it's been exciting to be able to see all that happen. So then when it came this time, I was thinking, oh my, after I'd already planned it out, I thought, that's on Mother's Day. Oh,
right.
No. Oh no. I'm going to tell mothers that they all need to go to hell. And I thought this is an awful way to be able to do Mother's Day. So I thought, well, and then the more I thought about it, I thought, no, this is a great time because just like on a special Sunday, there are going to be a lot of people here that don't know Jesus, and sharing the gospel is going to be really important. So I was grateful for the opportunity, and there were probably about 18 people, probably maybe more, but at least that number as I kind of ran it through my head, that said yes, and some that were there for the first time. So I'm like, yes, that's exactly what God wanted to do. And sometimes it takes more than one time of hearing, too. They say it takes about 7.
Yeah,
about 7.
Yep.
People hearing it, touching it multiple times before they say yes.
Well, and I think that just speaks to what you illustrated, that multiple parts of ourselves need to understand and feel it fully. It can't just be an emotional response.
Exactly.
Our will needs
Mind,
to be
will,
there.
yes, will and emotions, yes.
Yep. And so, when you hear it the first time, it may be very emotional for you, but you need to move through that. Or the first time maybe
go to your
trying
intellect.
to understand the intellectual part of it.
Yes, and you're processing through it all.
Yeah. Well,
and then come to a will of a decision. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And I had a good conversation with somebody after service, and we were just talking about that aspect and how, lately it feels like the sinner's prayer has really been under attack, and that feels like a very unfounded attack.
I think it is because, Sure, it's not a magic formula. It's not a hocus pocus, poof, now you're a Christian. But like many people who are coming from like an unfamiliar background, not knowing like, what do I do? How do I make that happen? And I want to give my heart to Jesus, so what should I say? So it kind of gives some kind of a way or a method.
Yeah.
It's not the only method,
No.
but it is a method
Right.
that people can use to be able to really do that bridge of coming to know Jesus. Now, does it work for everyone? Well, if they're sincere and their heart wants to do that and is willing to make change, yes, it does.
Right.
But does everyone who says the prayer, like, are all of those instantly Christians? No. I mean, just because they say a prayer doesn't mean that. Nor does it mean if you go to church or if you give to missions or you read your Bible. None of that just suddenly makes you a Christian. It should be a part of development and a part of growth, but
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that. It's, the prayer is effective when it's the culmination of that mind, will, and emotion that understands the prayer that you're praying.
exactly.
And prayer is deeply powerful, and I think that's something that's getting really not talked about in this whole conversation of, there's a huge spiritual power behind prayer, and it acts as a marker and a point and a place that serves you for your whole lifetime of, like you said, continually making the choice, knowing who you are, being able to point to that moment and say, no, this is who I am because Christ says it, because I made this choice to follow him. And I think it's very important.
And that's why I wanted to say there are many choices
Yeah.
that are going to happen in your life. This is one of them.
Right.
Is it the only one or what? No, there's many more. It's going to keep happening. We have a life of choices, and that's what's really necessary for us to keep growing, learning, going.
Yeah. So for all of you listening today, just understand and realize and embrace the fact that you've got to continue to choose.
Yep.
And any final thoughts?
No, I just encourage people to continue on that journey, discovering how God wants to work through your life, choosing the better rather than the good, so you can be able to find exactly where God wants you. There's nothing better.
Well, thanks so much, Pastor Arlie.
Sure.
And thanks for spending some time with us today on CWC Dive Deep. Join us next week as we continue sharing memories from the Vintage Collection. We've got more fun stories in the weeks coming up, so be sure to tell others about the podcast so they can listen in. And if you've missed past episodes, check those out at cwc.life/dive-deep. Have a great week.